Coming up on the center of it all, we'll tell you why people were throwing axes in Black Moshannon State Park and show you a restaurant that is determined to give you a local and healthy meal. Mel bakes up a tropical sweet treat and Matt joins us for another summer golf tip. It's all right here on the center of it all. Good morning and thank you for joining me on the center of it all. We are in studio today, and if you missed the Christmas in July car show, we'll be showing some clips throughout the show. While we had the Christmas in July car show, Black Moshannon State Park held a festival that had people getting in touch with their roots. Live music, water events, log rolling, these are all things you could watch for the 31st annual Black Moshannon Summer Festival. The two-day festival happens every year, the weekend after the Arts Fest. Saturday events include the Jack and Jill Lumber Contest, axe throwing, crosscut, nail pounding, everything to help people remember the history of the park.
Promote the lumber heritage of the region. This was a big lumber mill area before it became a park in the 30s. So it's just to get in touch with our roots or the lumber heritage.
This year, the money raised at the festival will be used to build a playground on the beach.
Right now, the only playgrounds are in the camps, the campground and at the cabins.
So for a $1 registration fee, people could show their support to the strong lumber history and take part in all of the games. But if you didn't want to be a part of all the events, there was plenty to watch.
We have a crosscut where they have logs and it's a two-man saw with one man or woman on each end. That one's a really fun one to watch because they get yanking and it's something to see. The events, it's fun to just come out and watch. Lots of different craft vendors and food vendors, so it'll be a hot weekend, but we have the beach right here, so you can take a dip in the lake after you check out the event.
And there was plenty of people taking advantage of the cool lake during the hot day. But even though the weather can sometimes be unbearable, that doesn't stop people from coming back year after year.
Seems like once someone comes once, they want to come every single year. So we get a lot of repeat people that have been taking place in the Lumberjack and Lumberjill contest for the last 20 years. It gets a little competitive, but it's all like fun competition. It's nothing serious.
Melissa Bennett has been coming to the festival since it first began. She says she loves the park and everything the festival offers to the community.
It's such a great atmosphere. It's such a beautiful park. The people are fantastic. The Friends of Black Moshannon do so much throughout the year, and I think this is their biggest fundraiser. And everything goes towards upkeep of the park.
With the growing technology, less and less people seem to be taking advantage of the state parks in the area. This festival lets people enjoy the beauty the park has to offer and reminds them of the history right in their own community.
And the group does to give back to the community and to for a fundraiser, and then also to promote, to get in touch with the history of the park, the lumbering history, and to celebrate the water resource we have at Black Moshannon.
And when people come once, they keep coming back.
Lots of people come back year after year. And for the people that have never been before, we hear it every single year. Oh, I wish I knew about this 20 years ago. I would have been coming every single year, and they always want to come back.
And even if you have never done any of the events or aren't any good at them like me, it's still a fun way to get involved and support the park.
It's like I've heard everybody call it the hidden gem of Pennsylvania as far as parks are concerned. And the festival has so much to do. You don't have to be, they don't let your professionals come. So it's a lot of kids activities. If you have kids, it's perfect for them.
It is a lot of fun. Whether you have a family, a young family, or college-age kids, it's just a lot of fun.
During the two-day festival, there were over 5,000 people who showed up to show their support. When we come back, we head out to one restaurant that brings your food right from the farm. Welcome back to the center of it all. Are you looking for a place to eat to support your local farmers? When you go to Revival Kitchen, it is an almost guarantee that the food you're eating is all local. Even the wood for the table you're eating off of.
If they're not coming in locally, we're not going to have them.
Reality was that the best ingredients in the country are growing right here, so we thought it was a chef's gold mine as far as having awesome ingredients and produce to start with to make really good food.
Tomatoes are in. You'll see tomatoes probably 6, 7, 8 different places on the menu. Same with corn. We try and highlight those ingredients while they're at their prime. We saw an opportunity here to do a farm-to-table restaurant because so many awesome things do grow here and nobody's using it. Not a single restaurant that I know of in this town is using any local produce.
There's a lot of pizza, there's a lot of subs. Our name is Revival Kitchen. We're reviving a food scene that is not really existent here right now. It's almost a food desert. We're offering an alternative. We make everything from scratch. We use local produce. We use fresh produce. And Quentin cooks with a lot of skill, a lot of love.
Freezers and cans and a jar of sauce. Sauce doesn't come out of a jar at Revival Kitchen. Pasta doesn't come out of a 50-pound box. You know, we either make the pasta or we have somebody qualified. You won't find, you know, a bunch of frozen proteins going into the fryer, pre-breaded, pre-prepared. It's no heat and serve. Everything we do, we make, spend all day making.
There's a lot of processed food, so we're trying to use fresh ingredients and just offer an alternative for people around here.
It's the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do. We could buy everything off the back of a Cisco truck and save ourselves a whole lot of time of running around. We spend forever running around to get all the supplies we need, and it's a big network we've kind of created, which, yes, it is a lot of time and energy going around to get all these things, but I think at the end of the day, what you're eating is one, much healthier for you. It did come locally, so you're supporting your neighbor and this idea of a shared economy. And everything that we get here locally is way nicer than anything I get off a truck.
Well, it's good quality, which is number one. But we're working on kind of a shared economy. We're trying to support our neighbors, local farmers, local businesses. It's important to us because we're a small community here. So far, so good. People are really happy. We have a great loyal clientele, both local and people coming from State College and Mifflintown and Harrisburg and Huntington. So we're both a destination restaurant and a neighborhood bar.
But it's not just the food that's local. The decorations were all made themselves, with the wood coming from farms in the area.
We made this bench, these tables, all the wood you see on the top, right down to the water glasses you're served with your dinner are all wine glasses that we chopped off ourselves and etched with a logo.
And though their menu changes weekly, depending on what's fresh at the farm.
We have a few staples that we're known for, that people love. Our bread and bone marrow, our sticky toffee pudding cake. Those things will stay on the menu.
So where do their recipes come from?
A lot of it we're coming up with as we go, because this is sort of a new experience to be working here and try to be as farm to table as possible.
And they hope their customers are happy with their meal.
Hopefully they're full and they're happy and they feel good and you know, they feel satisfied with the quality of product that we're giving with them and how it nurtures their bodies.
So for now, they plan on staying right where they are.
We don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. We really like where we are. We really like this building. We really like our relationship with Seven Mountains. And the community, our farmers, and our business partners are all too good to even think about expanding or trying to grow bigger than what we can do.
Once or twice a month, they try to do a Sunday supper with a theme for the community. The next one will be August 14th, and it will be Mexican night. When we come back, we head out to Mel's for a taste of dessert. Welcome back. This week, Mel shows us how to bake a simple cake with some big tropical flavor.
How are y'all doing today? Don't you just love it when you're in the company of someone who speaks with a Southern accent? It's just so comforting. As a child, I had a great aunt-in-law. She was my grandmother's sister-in-law. She was a resourceful woman who lived on a farm and she loved to bake. Join me today while I show you how to make Aunt Eula's Southern Plantation cake. And as she wrote, it's great to take to picnics, potlucks, and funerals too. This recipe has 3 easy parts: a nutty topping, a fruity batter, and a coconut frosting. And it's so easy you don't even need an electric mixer to make. But just keep in mind, the cooks that came before electricity didn't have any countertop appliances, and they baked in wood and coal-fired ovens too. Typically, all they needed to bake a cake was a bowl, a spoon, and a baking pan. We're going to start by making our topping, and I have a generous ½ cup of light brown sugar in this little bowl, and I'm going to add 6 ounces, about 1.5 cups, of chopped salted macadamia nuts. You can use any nut you want as long as it's 1.5 cups. Pecans, walnuts, I'm using macadamias because I want my cake to have a little bit of a tropical flair today. I'm going to stir the nuts around with the brown sugar just to give them a light coating. And now I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of butter at room temperature, and I've chopped it up into small bits and pieces. And you really do want the butter to be at room temperature to make this easy on yourself. And this is going to get a little messy, and it's going to take a minute or 2, but it's perfectly easy. We're just going to work all of this butter and brown mixture, sugar mixture together till we get a nice kind of loose but cohesive streusel-y topping. I have a nice cohesive topping, but it's loose enough to sprinkle all over the top. Set this to the side, and it's time to mix our cake batter. I'm going to start by putting 3 cups of flour, a full tablespoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of salt in a big bowl. I'm going to stir in 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. I am going to make a little well in the center. I'm going to lightly beat 3 eggs. I'm going to add the eggs to the center. 2 cups of chopped pineapple from a 20-ounce can of pineapple chunks. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2 teaspoons of bourbon extract, and a cup of pineapple juice that I kept from the can. Stir this all together. It'll just take a second. This is how easy making this cake batter is. And you can use sliced peaches, you could use sliced pears. Just remember to reserve the juice and add the juice for the liquid in this recipe instead of milk or buttermilk or sour cream. A little bit more. We want to get the flour pockets that, even if you have a few, it won't make too much of a difference. That's looking good. Now I'm going to do this for the camera, which is backwards for a left-hander like me. I'm going to pick up this bowl. I've got a 9x13 baking pan that I've sprayed with no stick spray. And I'm going to transfer all of the batter to the pan. I think I'm going to stop there, put this down and scrape it out by hand. It smells really delicious with all this pineapple flavor in it. I want to get as much of this as I can. What I like to do when I'm baking any kind of a cake is give it a few shakes across the counter to smooth it out. We're going to pick up our topping now. I'm just going to start dropping this in little bits and pieces all across the top. This will take just a minute. I'm going to pop this into a 350-degree oven and let it bake for 35 to 40 minutes until it's golden brown. I'm going to bring it out and we're going to top it while it's hot. My cake just came out of the oven after 35 minutes. It's all puffed up and golden. I checked it a couple times with a cake tester to make sure that it comes out clean. And while this cake is steaming hot, I warmed up a can of sweetened condensed milk, not evaporated milk, sweetened condensed milk. And I'm going to start drizzling this over the top. You can see how hot this is. It's bubbling all across the top here. Just drizzle this evenly all over the top of the cake. And when this cools, it's going to get a nice thick, it's going to turn into a nice thick frosting. Oh, yum, that's going to soak in there. This is so delicious. And while the cake was baking, I toasted a cup of coconut in a skillet on the stovetop. And I'm just going to sprinkle this all over the top of the cake. And as soon as I get all of this coconut on, I'm just going to let this cool completely for about 3 hours. This recipe is living proof that if you like to cook, and even if you don't, if you're given a plastic bag full of recipes that someone in your past has taken the time to collect, read them or pass them on to someone who will. All recipes matter. For this and all of my recipes, just go to my website.
Mel's dessert recipes are just as good as her full course meals. When we come back, we head out to the golf course and introduce you to the pet of the show. Welcome back to the center of it all. It is hot and humid outside, but that doesn't keep people off the golf course. We head out with Matt Bukovich for this week's golf tip.
Thanks, Alicia. You know, one of the most challenging shots in the game of golf is a greenside bunker shot. And I'm going to show you guys today a great practice tip to help work on this really challenging shot. I have my golf ball placed right here in the middle of the sand. What I'm going to do is draw an arrow towards my flag. I'm going to bring the arrow down, stop it just before the ball, and continue the arrow right after the golf ball. This is going to give me a great spot for me to hit my next shot. The next thing I'm going to do is draw a couple lines here in the sand. This is going to help with my stance. I'm going to take my position. I have my arrow pointing towards the flag. I'm going to place my club right here in the sand, and I'm going to rotate it towards the right. Now, our club face is aimed to the right, so our shot's probably going to go to the right of the flag. So what we want to do is we want to rotate our feet to the direction of the left to line our club face up with our target. You'll put one foot on the middle part of your X and one foot on the back part of your X. That'll put the club at a nice squared position right towards our flag. We'll take our stance, we'll look at where our arrow is, we'll take the club back and fire it towards the pin. And one additional tip, in the event that you come across a bunker that has a very high lip that's blocking your shot towards the pin, here's a tip that's going to help get that ball high and out of the bunker and onto the green. I'm going to take my same position here with my open stance and my open club face. I'm also going to take my hands and raise them very high into the air. Shots that have a high lip, you want to have your hands nice and steep up here in the air and coming straight down towards the target. That's going to lift that ball out of the ground like you saw in the British Open and right onto the green. So I'll take my hands up high to this position and bring them down nice and steep towards my golf ball. That swing right there should help get the ball out of the sand, over the lip, and onto the green. And as always, if you have any additional golf questions, see your local PGA professional.
While some people are out on the golf course, Andrew Callista is out with Nittany Beagle Rescue to introduce us to this week's Pet of the Show.
Thank you, Alicia. Time for my favorite part of the show, and we're joined once again from Nittany Beagle, Sam Taylor, and we have a gorgeous girl here, Chloe. What a beautiful girl she is, Sam. Tell us a little bit about her.
Well, she's 3 years old. We got her in with her sister, who's currently in a foster. She's in a kennel now, but she's a really sweet dog. She loves people. She's good with children. We had her at the Arts Fest last weekend, and she did fantastic. A little tired by the end of the day, but she cuddled with just about everyone. If they sat down, she invites herself into your lap. She's house trained. She might need a little refresher because she's been in a kennel for a while now. But she's just an overall great dog.
She is so great. In fact, she's been with us just today for about a half an hour. I have not heard her bark once, I know. And look at those gorgeous eyes. Now, Sam, she was a little skittish at first around me, but like you said, she ended up jumping right into my lap as soon as I kneeled down. She's being great for the camera right now. How is she with other dogs in the house?
She's a bit wary of other dogs at first. I think maybe she could get used to them, but you'd need to introduce her slowly, as you do with most dogs. But she did live with her sister for 3 years, so she should be able to adapt to other dogs.
She loves the attention. She's such a good girl, so quiet. I could just picture myself right now cuddling up with her on a couch. Sam, thank you once again for bringing Chloe by.
Yep, thanks for having us.
And thank you at home for watching this edition of The Center of It All. That's all we have for you today. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and follow at WHVL on Twitter.